is obviously a great destination for folks both living in and visiting Wisconsin. Actually, I was in the market and I probably ran into and talked to at least 15 or 20 people from out of state coming here to Milwaukee to enjoy the day. So obviously, let's go backwards. I don't have to tell you that this pandemic has challenged our state and country in more ways than we ever could have imagined. And our tourism industry was one of the hardest hit. The folks here in Milwaukee know it well, small business owners and folks in the tourism, lodging, and entertainment industries had to stay flexible and innovative and adapt to the challenges brought by the pandemic. That's why when we received the CARE funds, we put them to work, helping nearly 53,000 small businesses and restaurants throughout our state with that We're All In grant, and investing more than $50 million in our tourism, lodging, and entertainment industries. And when the American Rescue Plan Act came along, we again prioritized tourism, putting $140 million of those critical funds towards bolstering and supporting our entertainment, lodging, and tourism and travel industries. That investment included $75 million for lodging industries, more than $11 million for our movie theaters, $22 million for our live event venues, nearly $3 million in minor league sports teams, $8 million of summer camps, and $1 million for the Wisconsin Historical Society. As well as that, we put aside $15 million for destination marketing organizations and more than $7 million to increase the marketing support by the Department of Tourism. From hotels to event menus, summer camps, minor league sports teams, these folks make up an important part of our state's economy. And we know when we invest in tourism, it pays off. So today, I'm thrilled to announce this morning that we're putting another $10 million towards the industry's continued recovery with up to $3.5 million grants for local government and tourism entities for infrastructure investments and projects that help promote, maintain, and bolster Wisconsin's tourist economy. These projects should have a substantial capital component and could include convention centers, travel infrastructure that helps visitors get around, and public and nonprofit attractions and more. Our goal with these funds is to not only make sure Wisconsin's tourism industry continues to recover, but to ensure that we are building a strong future for the industry with infrastructure that helps to continue to grow for years to come. And whether it's heading up to Door County, visiting Green Bay to watch the Packers at Lambeau, coming to the Deer District in Milwaukee, or shopping, dining, and visiting Milwaukee, we know that the tourism industry impacts our local economies all across the state. Now, I'd like to introduce some of the folks behind me that have come to hear this today, and Senator Johnson is here, as well as Cavalier Johnson, the head of the Milwaukee board, and so I'm very happy that they are able to be here today also. And now I'd like to turn this over to Lafayette Crump, and he will introduce Secretary Sayers. Lafayette, you're up to bat. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Governor. Thank you, and on behalf of myself, Mayor Barrett, Council President Johnson, and all of the families and businesses in Milwaukee, thank you so much, not just for your commitment to the great state of Wisconsin, but also to one of its great cities, Milwaukee. You know, tourism in Milwaukee was on an incredible upswing coming out of 2019 with over 29 million visitors, bringing nearly $6 billion into the greater Milwaukee area and supporting over 53,000 full-time jobs. And there's no doubt that tourism is going to be critical to moving Milwaukee forward and jump-starting our economy. We've seen proof of this recently, of course, with the incredible title run by our world champion Milwaukee Bucks, a series of 11 home games in the beautiful Fiserv Forum that Visit Milwaukee estimates brought in nearly $36 million in direct and indirect spending into the local area. When the Bucks win, Milwaukee wins, and Wisconsin wins. You know, coming next month, we'll see an incredible event, another incredible event, bringing locals and visitors together when Summerfest returns. More than just being the world's largest outdoor music festival, which is pretty great in its own right, Summerfest is a gathering place for people from around the region who also fill our hotels, eat at our restaurants, support our businesses, jobs, and families right here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, before returning back home. Later in September, Kohler, Wisconsin will welcome the Ryder Cup, which will bring thousands of people to Whistling Straits, many of them staying right here in Milwaukee. This means an estimated economic impact of roughly $70 million for the greater Milwaukee area. Again, wonderful news for the local economy, which saw its hardest hit year, of course, in 2020. All of these short-term events, though, they bring people and exposure to Milwaukee, which can then have a much longer impact, and that means good things for the city and for the state. I'm talking about young people who come here for a concert and then are inspired to put down roots here. Talking about the entrepreneur who has an incredible time at Fiserv Forum and then decides to take a chance on starting a business in Milwaukee, or the corporation that sees the quality of life and the low cost of living and realizes this is a great place to bring or start an entire operation. All of these things push Milwaukee toward an abundantly bright future that I'm so excited to be a part of, and I know so many others are as well. You know, when people think of tourism, a number of them, they just think restaurants, hotels, museums, or sporting facilities. They think of the high-profile destinations. What I've tried to highlight here is another crucial aspect of tourism: jobs. As the largest tourism market in the state, Milwaukee accounts for about 20% of Wisconsin's total tourism economic impact. And when we talk about millions and billions of dollars, that translates to tens of thousands of jobs and hundreds of thousands of family members who are impacted and supported. So tourism is important for our economy, but it's important for our neighborhoods and for our families. So as we think back to all of the images we saw over these last weeks and experienced, all that enthusiasm, all of that enjoyment, we got to think not just of what we saw right there, in the Deer District and the surrounding area, but think about how many different families were impacted by that amazing run and how many can be when we support tourism. The future is so bright. You know, occupancy rates in Milwaukee's hotels continue to rise. This was happening not just because of the Bucks run, but also because so many meetings and events are beginning to resume. On the eve of the finals run, in fact, occupancy rates in downtown Milwaukee hotels were just over 80%, which gives me and others so much hope for the recovery. These funds that the governor is announcing today will greatly help so many of the attractions that Milwaukee has to make it not just an incredible destination from a visitor perspective, but for those who live here as well, those who live and work here. These funds are going to help our tourism businesses make improvements that they had to maybe put off for the last year and a half, and ultimately make them more attractive to visitors and locals alike. Investment leads to growth, and growth leads to jobs. It helps Milwaukee, it helps Wisconsin, and it helps all of our families win. So as ever, Bucks in 6 and Wisconsin forward. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Wisconsin Department of Tourism Acting Secretary Ann Sayers, and I could not be more excited to be here in Milwaukee today to join the governor in making this announcement. $10 million additional dollars to support our hard-hit industry. From leisure travelers looking to reconnect with friends and family, to business travelers attending meetings and conventions, these dollars are crucial to helping our industry bounce back stronger. On behalf of the tourism industry, thank you, Governor Evers, for helping more travelers discover the unexpected in Wisconsin. This announcement brings the state's commitment to tourism from ARPA up to $150 million. Our industry is grateful to be supported by Governor Evers, who has always valued the great contribution of our industry to the state's economy, and I do mean always. I have one of the best jobs in Wisconsin because I get to promote the best state in the country every day. And one of the parts of my job is being on the State Fair Board. And I have to tell you that the governor and his wife, Kathy, have one of the most Wisconsin tourism traditions ever. They have visited the Wisconsin State Fair every year since before they were even married, 52 years. And I know there are many more cream puffs in their future, and it starts this Thursday. And just like the State Fair is coming back, so are the visitors. National research shows 88% of Americans plan to travel in the next 6 months. And we're already seeing that those travelers are choosing Wisconsin. Even in what was a very difficult year in 2020, Wisconsin tourism still supported more than 157,000 jobs and had a $17.3 billion economic impact. Yes, it was a tough year, but our industry is doing everything we can to recover. And while our efforts are working, we know it's going to take years for tourism spending to bounce back fully. Today's announcement will play an important role in helping us build the tourism infrastructure that will lead us not only through the recovery, but well beyond. You know, one of my favorite parts of the job is getting to connect with our industry partners. And just last week, I was in La Crosse, Cambridge, Manitowoc, and even the governor's hometown of Plymouth, the cheese capital of the world. And in those communities and others across the state, folks are telling me that they see people coming back. And you heard it again here today. Folks are determined to make up for lost time and make those summer memories. But I don't even have to tell you, you're seeing it too, out on the roads, at events and restaurants, and at treasured attractions. Plus, I'm guessing you're feeling the tug to travel as well, and my professional advice to you is to book that trip now. Travel is good for you, and it's good for our communities. In fact, Wisconsin's hospitality industry is the heart and soul of our communities. And don't just take it from me, take it from our guests. When you ask travelers about their experience in Wisconsin, they'll talk just as energetically about the people they met as the places they visited. And the first people they interact with here are hospitality workers who love our state and represent the very best in us. And today I'm joined by so many fantastic leaders with a deep appreciation for our hospitality industry and a determination to make this community an even better place to live and work and, of course, play. Thank you. I'll turn it back to the governor for questions.
Thanks so much, Ann. We'll be glad to answer any questions you might have. Yes, sir. Okay. Right. Yeah, that's a great question, and the basic question is, how do we walk and chew gum at the same time? And I believe we have to. We've done a great job thus far controlling the pandemic. Do I worry about the new variant? Do I worry about the fact that there's still hundreds of thousands of people in the state of Wisconsin that have not yet got the shot? Absolutely. But the good news out of all of this is this. There's one answer. People get vaccinated. I'm encouraging everybody to think through their Rolodex or the paper one or the one you have on your phone. Think about those people that you know did not get a shot. You can make a difference in this world, folks. And so I continue to be positive about the future. You have to be. People are, frankly, tired of hunkering down in their home. Yes, when I am out and inside, I will wear a mask. I'll follow the CDC directions as much as I can. But at the end of the day, we can fix this. We can fix this. We need to get people to get a shot. It's simple as that. Okay. Pardon me, I'm sorry? I encourage employers to do whatever they can to get shots in people's arms. I know a lot of our health partners are doing it, and I'm hopeful that others will either find a way to do it or require it if they need to be. I'm not going to be critical of any employer that requires it. I understand that sometimes that's impossible, but at the end of the day, we have to get shots in arms if we want to return to a life as we know it. Well, we're going through that right now, and we're looking at all options, whether it's testing every week for those that haven't gotten vaccinated, to making some other requirements. But we'll be making an announcement on that within a week. I'm sure of that. We're down to the final decision there. So it's a possibility, but it also, because we're so far spread, there might be places that aren't the transmission isn't that much, and so it gets very complicated. And but at the end of the week, we should know exactly where we're standing.
Is the state going to step up its efforts this week to reduce evictions? What's the state's role on the eviction issue?
Well, we're going to do whatever we can with the resources that we have and the authority that we have to minimize that particular issue. Frankly, it's a national issue. I wish that our federal folks would get involved with that. But whatever resources or whatever programs that we have had in the past that would prevent evictions, we'll see if there's any resources left to help people out. I'm really sorry, I didn't hear the whole thing. Thank you. Sorry, I didn't hear it the first time. Yeah, I don't believe we have that authority, and it's very unlikely. Possible that the authority may rest at the local level, but again, having vaccination cards and proof of that is a complexity that doesn't, it's still complex here in Wisconsin. I don't know how they're going to do it in New York City, frankly, but we don't have any immediate plans to do that at the state level. Yes, sir. Well, I'd sure hope that we could apply, and I would sure hope that we are succeeding or would have success in getting it. It's going to be an uphill battle. Obviously, there's other cities that have waited equally long and want their chance, but it would be great for Milwaukee, and frankly, we did a dry run this last year, and so we should be prepared. It'll be easier this time around. We attend the same large meetings via Zoom, and it's not a way to kind of get into his world. But at the end of the day, I haven't read the independent reports, but at the end of the day, we have to make sure that people who feel they have been wronged have a voice, and that is really important to me. We look at incentives. I'm an incentive skeptic, but it's still on the table. There's still people that are interested in having me do that. So it's a possibility. My skepticism is many other places have done some sort of incentive, and there's a spike, and then it's the same. It doesn't make a long-term result, and so we'll do whatever we can to get people shots on arms. It's really important. So, good. Thank you. Thanks, everybody.